All right, my next guest is Dr. Shelly Persad, the cannabis chiropractor and womb shaman, author of Somatophobia, and host of the Soul Warrior Retreat. Shelly, welcome to the Tim Teaches podcast. I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, Tim. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today.
It's a pleasure to have you. What is a womb shaman?
So, the essence of the medicine that I've given birth to is you are your own healer, you're your own shaman, and you are your own guru. So, the longest journey that we have to make in our life, you know the saying, from your head to your heart.
Yeah,
Actually, they just didn't tell you that you got to make it from your head down to your womb, which is your lower Garden of Eden. It's your foundation. Our pelvic floor is our foundation. So we have to descend all the way to our foundation to then begin the ascent back up into our heart and then up into our third eye. And that is this concept of ascension. We have to descend in order to ascend. So I am not your shaman. I am my own shaman. I guide you in remembering how to be your own shaman by guiding you on that journey into your womb so you can remember how to awaken your life force energy, which goes by many names. Goes by chi, goes by ki, prana, sexual energy. I like to call it Shakti, which is our inner healer. She is our inner feminine essence, who is our inner shaman.
that's awesome. So, can you kind of introduce yourself? Where are you from? How did you get involved with this?
Perfect. Yeah. So my journey began in Ohio, born in a little small town there, but I always knew that I was seeking more. I've always been a questioner of truth. I've always been a seeker of this more that is possible. And that was the driving essence of my journey. Knew I wanted to be a chiropractor at 13 after two orthopedic surgeons gave me solutions to my knees that were giving out on me. And I said, no, I'm not going to allow you to break both of my heels and reset them. And I can't walk right for 6 months. I'm 13. So my mother took me to a chiropractor and he explained the biomechanics of my body and how if my pelvis is misaligned, that's going to affect down my legs and up my spine. It just clicked. A light bulb went off. And I said, this is what I want to do. So when I got to chiropractic college, I didn't just want to be a 3 minute snap, crackle, pop in and out because that's what I had shadowed a lot of chiropractors and seen and witnessed. And it just didn't feel authentic. For me, it's not the care that I know that I'm here to truly offer my patients,
Mhm.
which that led me to multiple stepping stones that got me on the journey I am today, having my own experience, feeling my Shakti come alive and flowing up my spine, my Kundalini awakening, and in a chiropractic adjustment at that, you know. So I'm like, what is this energy? Wow. Because I was a little skeptical. It's light touch, it's energy. At the time, I wasn't fully sunken deep into understanding the essence behind this approach. But that led me into consciousness studies and one thing after another. So now, fast forward to being in practice. I couldn't really practice the way I desired to because my patients' bodies were so stuck in fight, flight, freeze. Guiding them to breathe into their glutes, they're like, how do I breathe into my glutes? Like the mind body disconnect is what I was really seeing. So, and of course, they're like, Doc, I have this pain still. You know, that light touch stuff ain't working. Can you
Yeah,
put your elbow in my glutes for me?
yeah.
So I started getting burned out because they're returning with the same pain when I know more is possible. I knew that if I could just guide them into that suppressed emotion, that unhealed trauma, that childhood wound, they'll release their sciatica because I guided one or two patients who were open there. But I just couldn't within the scope of a chiropractic practice with egos and the fear of the body. So
Yeah.
all of that led to burnout, 4 practices, 3 countries later. Okay, I'm burnt out. I thought exiting the US and, exiting the Medicare and insurance system. Okay, I'm out of the game. I have cash practices in Mexico. I'm good.
Yeah.
Burnout comes staring me in my face again. Okay, why am I burnt out?
Yeah.
I just knew there was more possible to truly be authentic. I didn't want my patients giving me their power to fix them because I didn't have that kind of power.
hmm So you're
So,
running the Soul Warrior Retreat, and what does that kind of entail?
and that brings me to Bufo,
Hmm.
which for anyone who doesn't know what Bufo is, Sonoran Desert Toad or 5-MeO-DMT,
Hmm.
the most powerful psychedelic known to man on the planet. That showed up in my life and rebirthed me along with my relationship with cannabis. And my husband and I, we dove deep into the plant medicine world, and I immediately saw the same cause of my burnout in my chiropractic practice, in my own healing journey, doing everything, and still the same triggers and traumas showing up. When I entered this plant medicine world, I saw the same thing, and I'm like, okay, I do not want to go down the path of reverting. I thought I dealt with that. I thought I healed that. So, in our own journey of healing with plant medicine, bringing in my background of chiropractic in the body, we've given birth to this inside out self healing approach that literally is what is underneath that you are your own shaman. We literally help you remember how to be your own shaman, how to be your own healer. So, it's a one on one plant medicine retreat. We created it because we didn't want to go to the group ceremonies where there was no guidance, no structure. It just felt like people were showing up, drinking medicine, and having awarenesses, but then going back into their everyday life and reverting. And that's what I did not want to repeat.
Yeah.
So, with the shaman that we were mentoring with, that's what we witnessed him do. And I was like, oh, ding, ding, ding. This is what I witnessed those chiropractors that I interned with do that made me go, I don't want to serve like that. So that's why we chose to serve medicine one on one. You have our full undivided attention, full guidance into remembering how to navigate the medicine space. Because the word shaman means one who knows how to navigate the feminine dimensions of consciousness, or
Hmm.
one whose Shakti, life force energy, is awake. So when we look at the mind body complex, the body is the feminine dimension of consciousness, the mind is the masculine dimension of consciousness. Plant medicines open us up to the feminine dimension of consciousness, our body. But as humanity and all the unhealed traumas, we're disembodied. If there's no guidance, if there's no rite of passage, empowering us to remember this is how you navigate the medicine space, this is how you navigate these feminine dimensions of consciousness, then you go to medicine ceremonies. And that's why I sat there and was like, where's the guidance?
Hmm.
And that's where cannabis came in as my ally. And she's like, listen, I know you're looking for the more that's possible. You've been looking externally. Your mentor, your guru, everything you're looking for is inside of you. If you trust me and revere me as sacred, I'll guide you there. I'll help you unlock everything you need to know. And that is exactly what she, along with the other plant medicines that we serve, have unlocked within me. How to heal myself and how to help humanity remember how to heal themselves.
So I've done ayahuasca, but I've never done Bufo. Have you done ayahuasca before? Is it
Yes.
similar or is it
No,
no?
no. So ayahuasca, is 8 hours more or less over the
Yeah.
course of a night.
Hmm.
Bufo, 5-MeO-DMT, is like the cousin of DMT,
Hmm.
and it is only produced in your body 2 times in your life, at the time of birth and at the time of death. So it is an intense, instantaneous connection to your higher consciousness. In our retreat, we have it set up 3 days of combo first to purge out all the blockages so
What
that
is
you
that?
can connect. Combo is another frog medicine. It comes from the Amazon, it's the Amazonian tree frog. And both combo and bufo, they're secretions. For bufo, the secretion is 5-MeO-DMT. For combo, it's over 120 different bioactive peptides and neuroactive peptides.
Wow.
So, combo is a purge. It elicits an immune response within the body that basically causes the body to inflame and go, okay, let me do a scan. So, the spirit of the medicine scans every molecule for whatever physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual, energetic blockage that is disconnecting you from your divinity, from your higher consciousness.
Wow.
So it's 3 days, and I burn gateways on the skin because the medicine enters through your lymphatic system. And there's a whole ritual and process of drinking water, fasting. You don't have anything in your stomach that morning. And the purge is a deep purge based on the color or what I see coming out. Certain things imply, oh, there's inflammation or this came da 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 from here or there. So doing the purge first allows you to connect with divinity. Otherwise, going straight to Bufo,
Mhm.
Bufo is going to reveal that blockage to you. So Bufo is going to show you you, and if there's something in the way between you and your divinity, then it may not necessarily be an amazing, beautiful experience, which I
Yeah.
have witnessed.
Yes.
So we set it up where we're going to purge for 3 days first, get all those blockages out of the way, purging for your masculine lineage, your feminine lineage, and then the third day is purging all blockages regarding your relationship with self. And then you can meet your higher self because now that you've purged all that out of the way, your journey is going to be much more fluid. You're going to connect and let go easier. Otherwise, the ego can fight, won't surrender.
I mean, I'm a little scared of Bufo, to be honest with you. Like, I've heard a little bit about it. I haven't done a ton of research, but ayahuasca for me was crazy and healing, but like it was pretty intense stuff too. So I'm going the next level up. I don't know if I could
You
could
can, you
handle
can
that.
handle it. The
Yeah.
fear is normal because it's the ego that fears. The ego knows it's going to lose power and control over you because you're going to reclaim power and control by meeting your higher self.
How long does a Bufo experience last?
So the experience itself can last anywhere between 15 minutes up to an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
When you start coming back into your reality, you're
Hmm.
still feeling the medicine for a good 15 minutes. Our ceremony is usually an hour and a half to 2 hours from start to finish. We
Okay.
serve rapé beforehand, guide you in some breath work. I align you so that the medicine can flow through all of your channels because your spine's the highway to the divine. So you
Where
get the whole little treatment before meeting your higher consciousness
where's your retreat at? Are you
in
able to say?
Panama.
How long have you guys been running that down there?
We have been here for 3 years.
Nice.
We were in
And
Mexico before, and Panama called us home. So here we
right on.
are living in a luscious jungle in a volcanic crater.
That's awesome.
It's magic.
What about your book, Somatophobia? Is that the correct pronunciation? Or
Yes, it is. If we break it down, somato, implying to the body, phobia, fear. So the title basically means fear of the body. And that descent that I shared with you earlier from our head into our womb, for men, men also have a womb. It's called hara.
Mhm.
And in all ancient Eastern philosophies and teachings, the hara was honored and revered as sacred, just like the womb was honored and revered as sacred, because it's our hub of our life force energy. It's from where we give birth to the next generation, and it's from where we give birth to everything in our reality. So
Awesome.
the
So what
journey there into the body, that's a scary one, hence somatophobia.
okay. What led you to write that book? Just,
So I always knew that I had a book inside of me. I always, from the time I was young, I'm not here to have children. I have something to give birth to. So in 2012, a year after I met my husband, and it was like, and me sharing all the things I've done and studied, it was like he recognized, oh, we're on a similar path. Oh, he watched me get adjusted. Okay, I can do that to you because he studied massage. So the book started to come out as our baby, but premature. So
yeah.
I birthed it as an ebook. And then in 2017, after my first Bufo experience, and then a week later is when cannabis reactivated Bufo. That's when her higher self came to me and she's like, I know you're burnt out. I know you're frustrated. You've spent all these years trying all these modalities, looking external. If you trust me, if you surrender to me, if you imbibe me in sacred ceremony with an intention to check in, not to check out, she's like, I'll guide you to the more that you're looking for. Sign me up. That's when somatophobia really began taking shape and form. She gave me the name, she gave me how to write the book. It's a journey. Every chapter has its own ritual and intention. The target is to imbibe cannabis while you're reading it because it's a vibrational transmission. So as you are reading it, you can feel the words and the truth and the aha moments because you're in your body versus reading it and knowing it intellectually, but you're not getting it.
You said something that the cannabis reactivated your Bufo experience. And I've noticed that since I've done ayahuasca, if I ingest marijuana or cannabis, all of a sudden, sometimes I kind of go into that same headspace and I'm like, did I open some sort of portal or what? Because it's very interesting. I've never had it act like that before. And now maybe I just have learned how to expand my mind a little bit. Or do you have any explanation for that?
Yes, I do. So cannabis can mimic any plant medicine.
Okay.
She's just as sacred, and that's really the purpose of my book is to restore the sacredness in her as a plant medicine due to the war on drugs, due to no rites of passages. We don't really know what her full power is.
Mhm.
Because if we consume her recreationally, do you think the higher self, the spirit of ayahuasca, will work with you if you just sit around and consume ayahuasca recreationally?
Yeah.
She's not going to show up and work with you. She shows up in sacred ceremony. Cannabis is just like ayahuasca. She has a spirit, a higher self, who will show up when imbibed in sacred ceremony. So, because you already have a sacred relationship with ayahuasca, cannabis is now like, hey, hey, hello, are you awake?
Hmm.
Are you paying attention?
Hmm.
I can help you. For me, cannabis is a beautiful integration medicine because of her ability to mimic your other plant medicine experiences. She will bring you back into that space, allowing you to revisit it, revisit memories. Because what happens is and this is why cannabis is such a good integration medicine, we have a built in endocannabinoid system in our body and in our mind. So when we imbibe her in sacred ceremony, recreationally as well, our endocannabinoid system gets activated. So those receptors in both the mind, awakening the observer mind, and in the body, awakening your Shakti, your life force, your inner healer, now your mind and body are both activated and turned on. Where this is what I saw in ayahuasca ceremonies, people are journeying from the mind, but they're not totally in their body feeling the connection.
Hmm.
Where cannabis, she wants to get you in your body and feeling. That's why she heightens all of your sensations.
Yeah.
That's your feeling presence. Your mind that starts seeing, like, wow, am I being judgmental? Is this my inner critic? Like, you start seeing patterns and behaviors. That's your observer mind.
Hmm.
So now, as an integration medicine, she can merge those insights that you may have received during ayahuasca and connect them to what you're feeling in your body, to what the trauma or the wound, the root cause of those stories, patterns, behaviors, wounds, whatever she reveals.
Yeah. It's an incredible. I don't do it just for recreational reasons. I do, to kind of meditate and get into a higher consciousness. Anybody out there who's never experienced any of these medicines, I guess is the
Plant
correct term.
medicines. Yep.
Yeah, plant medicines. I know a lot of people are kind of on the fence about this or scared to do it. Somebody who's just putting their toe in and thinking about doing this, what kind of advice or how would you explain, like, hey, this is actually a beneficial thing for you? How would you encourage somebody, or do they have to be called?
You know, the calling is important because when you are called, you will show up.
Hmm.
The fear for those who aren't called but are kind of curious, that's a blockage because the ego has fear. So
Hmm.
that's a blockage that will be in the way when you're called. Okay, I'm going to go do it. I'm called. There might be a little fear, but you're not going to let it stop you. All of the war on drugs, all the propaganda, the belief systems, everything that those in control, big government, have wanted us to believe about these medicines is not true because they didn't want us to remember these medicines can help us liberate ourselves.
Hmm.
So we've been living in such a lower state of consciousness, experiencing traumas, not knowing what to do with them, not knowing how to heal them because we never received rites of passages. So we just stuff them down. The more we stuff down, it's the higher we rise into our head. Disconnected here at the neck, we don't feel, we're not embodied in our body.
Do you see a lot more people who have never been into shamanism, or some people would say, oh, it's woo woo or whatever. um, People seem to be kind of opening their eyes nowadays, and I don't know if that's just a shift in culture or if there's something else bigger going on right now. But I'm hearing a lot more people, and more people wanting to experience spirituality, and it seems like a
Mhm.
lot more people are really opening their mind to experience these different medicines. So are you getting more people who are not in this realm or have never experienced this down to your retreats?
Absolutely. Because if you look at it, and just all we have to do is look at the world's getting more chaotic. There
Mhm.
is bigger cosmic energies occurring that is creating an awakening in our consciousness. People are opening their eyes and realizing, oh, the government doesn't have our back. Oh, we've been lied to about this or that. So a lot of veils are dropping right now. And then we've
Hmm.
got the solar flares coming in, which is literally amplifying our us into our higher consciousness, but not without going through the purging process of all those lower frequency emotions and stuck energies from unhealed traumas. A lot of people are experiencing ascension pains and symptoms. Pain is being amplified. So people are starting to seek alternative therapies, which plant medicine was never alternative. It's what our ancients they've
Yeah.
honored and revered these medicines for healing for thousands of years. It's just recently, with all the programming, it does create that fear. But science, thankfully, is now coming around to prove what our ancestors have always known of all the benefits, especially to create new neural networks,
Hmm.
like highways in your nervous system that do not carry the same messages of trauma, fear, and danger. So these medicines really help us they reveal us to us. So that's what I love about cannabis. She's the greatest mirror. If she invokes fear, paranoia, or anxiety, she's just revealing that that's the fear, paranoia, or anxiety that's there that you live with, but you're not fully conscious of. It's kind of been numbed down. All of these plant medicines do just that, like I shared with Bufo. If you haven't
Hmm.
purged out the blockages, Bufo's going to show you the blockages.
Yeah. So with my experience with ayahuasca, I was a veteran and former law
Mm.
enforcement, and had kind of lost my brother in an accident and a whole bunch of traumatic things throughout my
Mm.
life. And, I was kind of dealing with a lot of PTSD and anxiety and depression and stuff like that. And ayahuasca, I mean, it literally just it was gone. And I know life continues on and people still have things that come up. And I'm not perfect by any means, but it was like just a knife just cut all that crap right out of my life. Is Bufo kind of the same experience?
Absolutely. It is a complete reset, rebirth. Whatever you are experiencing when you surrender to the medicine, it's so instantaneous. It's the quickest trauma healing medicine. 15 to 30 minutes, like you're reborn. We had one brother who, in the middle of it, he's laughing and screaming, woohoo, oh my God, I'm alive. And then he's like, I had to look at all the ways I've been killing myself
Yeah.
with alcohol and all these party drugs and this and that and stress and work and chasing money and success. And he's like, I am done with that. I'm done killing myself. So Bufo really shows us all the ways we're not living.
So doing my ayahuasca experience, I would say within 6 months, life happens, and I actually went back and did another ceremony. How often do you think somebody should use these kind of medications? How often should somebody be jumping into this arena?
Yeah, and that's a great question because I work with a lot of people who they may have struggled with addictions before, and then they meet plant medicine, and wow, that first ceremony, it feels like they don't want that addiction to heroin or coke
Yeah.
or cigarettes or whatever it is, but they didn't heal the root cause of the addiction. They
Hmm.
may have healed the chemical dependency on the substance,
Yeah.
but now they jump into plant medicine is the new addiction. Everybody, we feel bliss when we get into the plant medicine world, and ceremony after ceremony, the bliss starts diminishing. And
Hmm.
he's like, why is that? when we chase the bliss, the fractals or the love and light, we're missing out on the real healing that can occur. But again, without a rite of passage and knowing how to navigate these medicines, people are going to group ayahuasca ceremonies, and the first time they come up against something scary or fearful, they don't know how to go through it.
Hmm.
So then they stop and they miss out on going through it because the shamans are busy working with others or whatever the story is, or fear of being vulnerable. So what happens is they may have ahas and insights, but then if they can't integrate that and heal the trauma in their body, that creates them going back, seeking more, seeking more, seeking more. So if you are going back to the medicine, just be okay. So, what is my intention? As long
Hmm.
as you have an intention to heal, and in the healing, you will unlock the learning. So, the analogy I have is we have a treasure chest in our body.
Hmm.
And that treasure chest is located in our womb or our hara. That's why we have to descend. But it's covered in dust. All the dust is unhealed traumas, wounds, fear, programs, suppressed emotions, all the stuff we've just stuffed into it and not looked at. We forgot that we're holding the key and we're kind of afraid to go down there because it's really dusty. But even when we start going down there and we unlock it, that inner map that we pull out, only we can read it. And that inner map is your map to your higher consciousness. So, what cannabis showed me, because she reactivated Bufo, she's like, okay. And I had Bufo like experiences with her. And I asked her one time, why is it that I can have Bufo level intense experiences with just you, cannabis? Like, I'm asking all the shamans that, I mentored with, and they had no idea. So I always
Yeah.
turned to cannabis. Okay, cannabis, show me, teach me, help me remember because I can't find the knowledge outside. And she was like, so Bufo, ayahuasca, DMT, all of these really stronger medicines, they give us a glimpse of our higher consciousness.
Hmm.
She's like, if you come into your body, and how I work with unraveling the fascia, all the stuck energies are stored in the fascia, which for anyone who doesn't know what fascia, huh? It's a saran wrap like connective tissue that covers your body from head to toe. It covers every organ, every cell, every tissue, every nerve, every bone. Within that saran wrap like connective tissue, that's supposed to be fluid, not stuck and restricted, every memory of our soul is stored in our fascia. Not just memories from this lifetime,
Yeah.
but collective memories as a whole of collective humanity, memories from ancient past, memories from other planets where our soul has incarnated. All of those memories are in our fascia. So cannabis is like if you drop into your body and you unravel your fascia, called the pathway of consciousness in the body, you will literally clear out your pathway to your higher consciousness. So you don't need to go back to the medicine to get a glimpse of your higher consciousness. You're cleaning the pathway to your higher consciousness for your higher consciousness to be anchored into your body, embodied, functioning, being, living, feeling, expressing from your higher consciousness. So then every moment of every day can be like you're in medicine ceremony
Yeah.
because medicine just awakens us to our higher consciousness, which is how we should be living and where we should be living from. So when we go back into our life, we're back down in that lower state.
Yes, which I'm in all the time, unfortunately. Like a lot of times, just life, working and kids and everything, it's so hard to stay connected to your higher self. But from your experience, I've done plant medicine 9 times now, or ayahuasca 9 times now. And when you're leaving like I left my body, I'm out in another dimension, like, and you're interacting with spirits and angels and like God and Jesus and like all of these different things you're seeing, are you opening a gateway into another dimension? It's wild.
Absolutely. And you are opening gateways to other dimensions because you're opening your consciousness.
Hmm.
Why people are turning to and seeking plant medicine because we're realizing, and that was part of my burnout, I couldn't guide my patients to their traumas and wounds in the state of consciousness in which the trauma occurred. If I could have used cannabis in my practice, I
Hmm.
could have guided my patients into their traumas and wounds because the ego defenses are now lowered. they're more connected to their mind and body to get the story of trauma in their mind, to get the pain of the trauma in their body, connect the two. But I didn't have that. So, what happens is we are literally expanding our consciousness and becoming aware of things that we can't be aware of in our lower state of consciousness.
Hmm.
There are so many different levels. So there's different octaves in every dimension. So the amount of different levels of dimensions that our consciousness can expand and awaken to, it would fry our nervous system if we even just went straight there because it's
Yeah.
such a big expansion.
Yeah.
So, but when we do open up these gateways to these other dimensions, one thing that it's important to say here, of course, the safe and sacred space that you're in, and knowing whether or not the person guiding, leading, hosting the ceremony, what belief systems and programs they have that they haven't healed.
Hmm.
Because just as we live in a false matrix, all
Hmm.
the false systems that we've given our power to, that we think is providing us with nourishment, that's not really providing us with nourishment. It's a false system that we're plugged into, that we're dependent on. So if there's a false financial system, there's even a false food system now, all the systems are false. Wouldn't there also be a false spiritual
Yeah.
matrix?
Yeah.
So our history has been rewritten. So there's a lot of images or visions that people will have that I've helped them integrate that are false visions that have kind of been implanted into our consciousness based on the rewriting of our history. So, of course, going into all visions and memories with discernment, okay, is this a real vision or is this something that's implanted? One of the things that cannabis shared with me concerning synthetic DMT and this concept of machine elves, she asked me one day, she's like, have you ever wondered why they're called machine elves?
Hmm.
I'm like, that's a good question. Are they machine, like literally machine,
Yeah.
artificially generated spirits?
Yeah.
And as I navigated through some of these matrices myself, unplugging from them because they're stored in our body and they're
Hmm.
painful in the pain body when you start navigating them.
Yeah.
So that's where discernment is key.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are fully in it and helping people, and I do appreciate all you're doing. If anybody is interested in getting a hold of you or following you on any social media, or how would somebody get a hold of you?
All of my social media handles are my name, Dr. Shelly Persad, DR. My website is also drshellypersad.com. And then for the private retreats, that is just as it is, soulwarriorsretreat.com. We're also on Instagram. It's not as active as my Dr. Shelley. And then for my book, I offer a monthly free book reading. It's a beautiful ceremony. So for those who haven't met the higher power of cannabis, who desire to meet her in a sacred ceremony, my husband guides you into breath work and into your body while he plays instruments, carrying the frequency of the passages from my book through the musical instrument frequency, through Zoom and technology to you in the comfort of your own home. So we host those every month. And then we also offer another free ceremony. He does them for men once a month, a Hara Kriya cannabis ceremony. So it's a guided journey into your Hara, breath work, awakening your life force, remembering how to transmute those stuck energies. And then I offer a free ceremony for women. And those womb Kriya ceremonies are every Saturday, opening and transmuting the blockages in our pathway of consciousness, of course, so we can embody our higher consciousness.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Dr. Shelley. I would love to have you back on. Like, I have a million more questions, so
Absolutely. It's my
uh,
pleasure. Would love to be back on.
I appreciate you.